What's up, guys? It's Leo, Coach White Belt, and today I'm going to talk about um, MMA as a sport from the eyes of a spectator and as somebody who trains. So, there are plenty of people who watch MMA, not a lot of people who train. There's still a lot of people who train, but I would say there are a lot of MMA fans who don't train. Get out of here, Maisie. Okay, fine. Stop. So, there are a lot of MMA fans who don't train. And I would say to those people, you definitely should. I encourage those people, I encourage anybody to go out and train wrestling, MMA, jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, whatever it is, for fitness, for self-defense, for fun, as a hobby, as something a little more serious than that. But the reason I want to talk about it and how it relates to MMA is how much you're missing, how much of the fight you're actually seeing as a fan who is not as wise to the techniques and the nuances of fighting. So I've got this kid who I've been training for some time now, doing personal classes with him. So his dad is a fan of MMA, and his son goes to a school out here in the Los Angeles area. And any of you who have gone through public school in LA know that getting in fights or potential fight situations is pretty much, it's unavoidable. And and so he thought, because he grew up in the same area, in the same environment, and he had gotten in plenty of fights growing up. I've gotten in, I would say, at least 2 fights every single school year since kindergarten, growing up through the LA Unified School District. And I wasn't at all the kind of kid who would pick a fight. I was a nerd. I'm a nerd now. I'm an engineering student, and I was a nerd then, and I was pretty big on video games. I was competitive at some video games, nationally competitive, internationally competitive at some video games. And so I was a real nerd. Um, and even still, I wasn't, a lot of people didn't, there were some people who knew that side of me and some people who didn't, because I was still socially um, pretty capable. I had plenty of friends and buddies and whatever else. So I would say that I wasn't the loneliest kid at school, but at the same time, I didn't hang out with the cool kids and go talk trash to other kids and pick on them and all that sort of stuff. Uh, so I wasn't a big kid. I was secretly somewhat of a nerd and somewhat openly, and even still, like, people would just pick fights with pretty much anybody for any reason. Pretty much everybody I grew up with had been in several fights. From the geekiest kid that I hung out with, that I like to play the Pokemon trading card game with, or I amongst my friends who we held um, Pokemon the video game tournaments together, like, even amongst those friends, to like the coolest kids that I knew that were like on the football team, and the other athletes of the school and things like that, because I knew pretty much everybody, the band geeks, and um, yeah, pretty much everybody at school. There was at least a few people in pretty much every group, the tennis players and everybody else. So I would say all of them had been in a fight at some time at school with another kid from school, and for one reason or another. And it's very commonplace for LA, and that's a terrible thing. That's really a terrible thing. Um, so this young man, he goes to school out here, and so his dad said, you know what, I'm gonna get him to train, and I'm gonna get him to learn how to defend himself, and it'll be to his benefit even if he doesn't want to do it. This young man likes to play basketball. He's pretty good at it, and had no interest in fighting at all. None. Even the day that I showed up to train him and I tried to get him excited about it, he was not excited about it even a little bit. Not at all. And he was really dreading it. And then we sparred at the end of, I showed him some techniques, and then we just had like a quick 5 minute sparring session. Just him and I kind of just walked him through stuff. And after we would spar for about a minute or so and I'd catch him in something, then after he'd tap, he would ask if we could just be done. And I'm like, come on, let's just do one more. Let's just do one more. And I got him to spar with me for about 5 minutes, and then the next time I came, it became a little bit longer, and the next time I came, a little bit longer than that. And then soon enough, there were times that he was excited to spar, or that he was learning a technique, and it was something that I had done to him, but I hadn't shown him yet. And he was like, oh yeah, this is that move from last time that you caught me with when I was trying to go for this other move. And I said, yeah, exactly. So this is the counter to that move. And he was excited about it. And then we'd get into sparring, and then sometimes he'd want to just sit there and talk fighting with me. Just talk technique, talk takedowns, talk submissions, talk all this stuff, this situational stuff. He would actually play through it in his head like any other person who goes to the gym because they want to be there, And so he eventually did want to be there. And the last few times he was talking to me about watching some MMA events. His dad watches pretty avidly. And so he had watched some, and before that he had zero interest in it. And he started watching them and started to see all of the techniques and all of the situations, all of the positions, because at this point we had done so many techniques and so much sparring, and we had done kickboxing sparring, and we had done boxing sparring, and we had done purely just wrestling sparring. We had done plenty of, full grappling and MMA sparring already. And he was watching MMA because his dad was watching MMA, and he sort of just, let me take a look at this. On his own, decided to start watching it, and saw it. And he himself could see the techniques being used, and he could see, the guy needs to get his underhook to get out of this position, and then he needs to turn in this direction, and then there are sometimes that there's some stuff that he was missing, like techniques he's not yet aware of. And this is very common when you meet you have a jiu-jitsu guy and a wrestler who are both looking at a fight side by side. The jiu-jitsu guy will see certain things, this is what he should have done, and then the wrestler will say, no, because then that would put him in this position and he should go for this instead. And it's just a matter of what you're taught and what you know, and how good you are at these things. That neither of them is incorrect. It's just situationally what you're good at is what you'll do. Whichever feels like has the highest likelihood of a good outcome is what you'll go to. So yeah, this kid started watching MMA and enjoying it and seeing it positively, and instead of seeing fighting as something that only occurs from negativity, he started to see it as something positive, and he started to look forward to it. And then the last time that we sparred, he actually caught me in a guillotine. So I will tell you that was a very, very uplifting moment for me. And sometimes I have hard days and hard weeks and hard months, and that was not one of them. That was a really good moment. So if you watch MMA and you don't train, I really recommend you do, because you're missing so much. The fights are so much cooler than you already think they are. And you'll see how much cooler they are by learning some technique. Even if it's not a whole lot. You learn a little bit and you'll see it.